What's up, everyone, and welcome to Why Am I Never Present Alpha Beta Gold. I'm Cameron James. Joining me today, as always, Jason Porter, Microsoft's finest, Justin Vitale, and none other than Just Matt. What's up, everybody?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. I went to Dunkin' Donuts to get my shitty cup of coffee, I said, and this is how much they gave me.
That's what you get for going to Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
I love Dunkin' Donuts. I'll take Dunkin' Donuts over a bougie-ass cup of coffee any day of the week. I'm sorry.
I mean, Dunkin' Donuts is heated up sewage water.
I'll take it.
So I just got a coffee grinder, or am getting a coffee grinder today. Kate, in her infinite wisdom at Target, just random, instead of like looking for the bags of coffee, she just like reached out and grabbed one, whole beans instead of ground. So now I have a new kitchen gadget.
No,
There's nothing wrong with that.
I pick I think Wawa makes really good coffee.
Yes, I will.
They do.
They do.
Quick Check's pretty good. 7-Eleven's good.
Quick Checks is also really,
Part of my new territory now for work is in Maryland, and they have this place down there called Highs. It's like a Quick Check, Wawa, Royal Farms. Oh my God, best like cup of coffee like from that thing that I've ever had. Like it just blows everything else away. It's like you go and you select what you want, and then they have the whole beans on top of the machine. It grinds it right there.
Wow.
And then brews everything, and it was just a complete 180.
Yeah, the like really high end coffee stuff. I just feel like there's like too much science going on to it. I'm just like, yeah, I'm out. Like, just give me coffee and
That's like
in a dirty cup.
Fancy bar drinks whenever the bartenders go over the top too much.
See, that's
Yeah, if it takes 8.5 minutes to make a martini, you're doing it right.
I remember when, just for a fun little story, I remember when the distillery opened up next to in Asbury, next to the beer garden.
Yeah.
And like the weekend that it opened, I popped in there real quick on like that Saturday night. I remember going in. The whole bar was just all the people seated at the bar. It was just all women. And then there were a couple guys just standing around, and they're like, you have to take the tour first before you can be served a drink.
Yeah.
You need to know how it's done. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. The guy like literally walks in and he goes, well, we're still getting set up. And he like points at one thing and he goes, that's where we're going to be making like, whiskey, but like, that's where we make our gin. Okay. That's the tour. So then he goes back out. He's like, now you can get your drinks. And I'm like, cool. I'm with a bunch of people. We literally stood there for 25 minutes while there's just two dudes behind the bar with their fucking crazy beards, their twirly mustaches, their fucking white shirts, their vests, and their suspenders and whatever. And it like literally in that 25 minutes, they made 4 fucking cocktails, and they're all like $20-something a piece. And I was like, fuck this place. I'm never coming back. This is an awful experience.
That's how they all
It's not
are.
worth it. It's not worth it. I'm sorry.
I remember that tour too. The tour was like they literally brought you like a window, and it's like that's that. And what do you want to drink? And I was like, okay, cool. This is interesting.
It's such a fucking I understand like mixology is very popular and it can be interesting, but really, Jason's right. Like if it takes you 8 minutes to make a fucking cocktail, it's probably at the end of the day, it's not going to be worth all that time and effort for that one cocktail.
You order the one, literally, you get it, and then but as soon as you get it handed up, like start another round, like right now.
Yeah,
because
straight up.
I'm not really a big fan of super craft beers either. Like, I guess my thing was too, like after I had that little like alcohol incident that year, I was like, when I started drinking again, I was like, you know what? Let me just stick with like red wine and just like Blue Moon. And that's what I've been doing. And every now and then
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's every now and then some asshole like gives me like some scotch. I won't mention any names. What's up, Rich? And but other than that, like I'll like, all right, like I'll have like one sip of it and I'm like, I can't do this. Like I'll dump it out. I don't know, like I'm good with Blue Moon and just some red wine. But normally I only drink the red wine if I'm like, when I actually have my meal. Like I don't really like drinking red wine just to drink it.
Straight up.
Yeah, like if I'm having a steak, forget about it. It's totally drinking some red wine. But I was saying to Matt, I don't know if anyone else has watched it. I don't think so. I'm wrapping up on Lovecraft Country, and I think everyone should go check that show out on HBO if you haven't yet. It's super trippy, and it's I don't even know how to explain it but I don't get like surprised a lot in TV shows, and the twist at the end of episode 5 blew my mind, and I was like, did not see it coming, and I was like, this is fucking sick. I need to know how this ends. So if you're looking into a show that kind of has like a main storyline, but each episode is kind of like this little subplot, I guess, quick fairy tale like thing, check it out. It's a quick show and super confusing. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but cool. Other than that, I got nothing. And I'm assuming once again, as we said before, Matt's the only one still with a current gen console.
Yep.
Just
wait until it's a stock and a supply and it's reasonable instead of just checking these Pop Finder or whatever friggin' app or anything I can. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, we said it before, everyone. We think January you'll be able to find these things. The Xbox Series X has been showing up on shelves quite a bit more easily to find recently. You can just kind of walk into Walmart. I know has been stocking them quite a bit, and you can go in and get them, especially in the Jersey area, which we're from. I know that past couple days there's been a lot on the shelf. So go to Walmart, I guess, if you want to support them. And even though they had that whole fucked up launch bullshit, but they have it. PlayStation 5 still seems like it's a little bit of a more difficult thing to find. Now you're getting notices online, or I see news articles all the time that the trucks are now getting robbed. So, I mean, I get it. It's the holiday season. Everyone's scrambling for money right now, especially with the fuck's going on in the world. But just be patient because you'll get the goddamn thing eventually. So, other than that, has anyone been playing anything new? I know, Jason, you've been trying to get everyone on board for Destiny. I don't play, so unfortunately I'm out on that with you.
I actually started 2 games yesterday. The first one is I've had these both on my hard drive for ages. The first one it's kind of like an indie game. What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah,
that looked cool.
What a weird fucking game that is.
Yeah.
I guess if you go as far as like percentage, if you base percentage complete based off of like, I guess how many faces or something are drawn in the diary that the girl has, I'm probably 30% of the way through the game. But that is just it's very imaginative.
Is that the black and white one with the ship? Then no. You know what I was talking about. There's a game that's like black and white. It's like hand drawn and it's like on a ship and you're trying to figure out what happened to this ship crew. I
don't know. The Unfinished Swan was like that. That was like just all black and white. But yeah, Edith Finch. It's a good game. I don't know if it's great yet. It's a good game. It really trippy. It's weird. And then I also started. What's the second one in Deus Ex? Mankind Divided. Oof. I played the first one ages ago, and I'm just finally like, you know what? It's time I just kind of get through this one. Not really feeling it. I think I like the first one much better. Yeah, I had problems getting to that game. I think I've played the intro tutorial like 17 times, and I just can't get into it. Justin, what about you? Not to beat a dead horse. I've been playing Destiny a lot. But the big release happened this week, and we've been talking about it in our group message, and I've been talking about it with my friends in my Discord and my community and whatnot. And I know Matt and I have spoken about it, and I've got about 8 hours into Cyberpunk, and that shit is not going to be played again until I can have a stable experience without frame rate drops, without glitches, without my game soft freezing for about 5 to 8 seconds, and then hard crashing the entire system. It's happened 3 times, and I'm not going to risk it again. I'm not going to take the chance, and there's some experience from my friends that are playing it. Other than that, yeah, it's just been I've been wanting to get back into No Man's Sky. I know Jason is very excited about that. It did win Best Ongoing Game at the Game Awards this weekend. So that was nice because I feel the launch that Cyberpunk has right now is very, very almost mirrors what No Man's Sky went through, where you're seeing what we were supposed to get through these early videos to what we actually got. It was very similar to the experience that we experienced with No Man's Sky, and now here we are 3 years later. No Man's Sky is like loving this shit. So, but yeah, nothing new really. And Matt?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, and it's not because of everything that's going on. It's just because I was working on another side project. I've only put in an hour into Cyberpunk. Like I literally just started the game, made a character, went through the first mission, did like the montage where, you and Jackie are getting to know each other over like 6 months. And then I'm like starting that next mission, but I just haven't done it yet. the game updated again Friday when I got home, and it was like another 15 gig update.
Yeah.
Which was apparently supposed to fix some other shit. In the hour that I played, I didn't experience any graphical issues, but I know that's it's too early to say anything.
Yeah, all that shit happened after that flashback sequence, and you actually start. That's when it all happens.
That's why. So I'm kind of at a weird crossroad. Like, I'm gonna play it today. I'm gonna play a little bit of it today, but I'm not going too hard because there's gonna come that critical point where I think kind of like where you're at, where I'm going to play enough of it, and I'm either going to make the decision to keep going, or I'm going to make the decision to stop and then potentially just erase the game from my hard drive and then wait until, wait months, however long it needs to take for them to really get the kinks out. And I don't want to, I'm not bummed out. I'm not upset. I just wish that they had waited longer. If they had delayed it again, like I don't give a shit, in truth, especially now as an adult. When when I was a kid, things got delayed, I was like devastated. Now as an adult, if something gets delayed, fucking cool, that's fine, whatever, because I don't, we all don't have as much time as we would want to play games anymore. So when we do play these games, we want it to be an enjoyable experience. We want to get our money's worth and our time's worth. So I just wish they had waited, but I guess this is what happens when you delay a game and then people get angry and send you death threats. You feel like you just need to pump something out to get it out, and then it bites you in the ass because then it comes out, it's not what you would want it to be, and then people are still getting pissed and sending death threats and all sorts of unnecessary shit. So it's a tough thing because I really want this game to be good, and I have seen people complimenting it, the story is interesting. There's a lot of fun side missions. It's just, I guess, the technical side of it right now is really not so great. So we'll see how that goes. I don't feel like I wasted $60 because at some point the PS5 version of this will be out, whatever, and then I can, if that's when I need to give it a go, I'll give it a go. But at least in the meantime, last week, because I wasn't sure how things were going to go, I actually bought Miles Morales. And that was the side project that I work on. Short game, definitely a fun experience. Really, really beautiful. Honestly, it's a phenomenal looking game. The physics are so much better. The swinging feels better, especially with the adaptive triggers. And it should come as no surprise, I've already got the platinum.
Of course.
Yeah. That was the project. That was a side project that I needed. But I think I'm trying to figure out something else to be doing soon, not knowing what's going to happen with Cyberpunk. Like, I'm definitely interested in that Immortals game more than I was prior to its launch because the reviews are reasonable, but I'm just not 100% sure I feel like paying full price for that, but we'll see. The Destiny, since our last show, the Destiny update came out for like the PS5, next gen update, and it's Justin's shaking his head like, I know it's when you can finally play it. And honestly, I've
seen the videos.
It is a phenomenal improvement.
So,
it is crazy how good it looks. Like, it's not even me just trying to be like just pontificating. It's exponentially better than it was.
So
everything about it.
The update, when the update happened, I noticed right away on my One X that I was having some horizontal I lost the word.
Tears,
thank you. I was having horizontal tearing all over the place, and I'm like, what is it? Maybe it was, I thought it was my wire, I thought it was hardware, and I also found out that you're not supposed to plug in the newer consoles into a surge protector. They have all that shit built in, which I didn't know while I was hardware researching the shit. But I had all these horizontal tears, and sure enough, it had something to do with the new update that Bungie rolled out that was happening on the now older systems. So all I had to do was reset my video modes to factory default right in the Destiny settings, and it completely it changed it, it fixed it, and I was like, okay. I was like, that was awesome. But yeah, I noticed right away that there was something wrong. I don't know how that update affected that, but it did. But I've seen the videos, right, and I need that in my life.
It's great. I mean, I was gonna say I did play a little bit of it just because I realized that it was out this week, and then I didn't end up playing it. I played a couple matches this morning of Iron Banner, and I put on. I put on the 120 hertz, even though I don't have a 120 hertz TV, just because I wanted to see if I could notice an improvement. But I don't think it really registered because it's not there. But just by itself, I mean, Crucible and just multiplayer is so much better, so much smooth. Like it's amazing. It feels like I'm playing it on a PC because I've seen people play it on PC for years.
It's butter.
And just watching videos on YouTube, and it fucking glides. It really is an improvement. So I tip my hat to Bungie on this update, big time.
Jason, I'm assuming you haven't dabbled with this yet.
No.
Do you plan on it?
I do. It's just I'm probably going to look. So I'm taking off next week. I'm probably going to really get into that update next week. There's just too much going on this week to prepare for everything. But I'll have. I think actually it's going to be next week. I'm taking off, but it's going to be probably 13 days because of how holidays and weekends fall. So yeah, I'll have almost 2 full weeks to really rip into that.
Cool.
Yeah, and not to talk too much of Cyberpunk. Obviously, I haven't played it. I'm not playing it. I was gonna get it for my computer, but I was like, you know what? I only have a 2080 graphics card, and I think it would just explode. So I'm
certainly better than a PlayStation 4 Pro,
Yeah.
but I would still.
Yeah.
If you haven't spent the money, wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until I get the PS5 until it's settled until it's an actual PS5 version. But an interesting topic that I had heard today when I was in the car driving. Somebody mentioned they were talking about the multiplayer for Cyberpunk and what they thought it could or couldn't be, and they're like, it's tough to break into that market because you have Grand Theft Auto, which kind of has that open world online community. You have Destiny, which kind of has the shooter looter type community. You have World of Warcraft, which has whatever it has. I don't know. The game's still going on. But it's like Fallout tried to do it, failed miserably. I feel like Red Dead 2 tried to do it. It's not really that great. Like with this multiplayer for Cyberpunk, I don't really think they've even maybe said really much about what it is. So I guess I'm curious to know what on earth they could possibly be thinking. Is it going to be more of like a freaking shooter, which I don't see it doing that. I'm assuming it's probably going to be something more along the lines like GTA. But I mean, to kind of break into that market, something that GTA kind of, owns right now, I guess
that is their market.
It'll be interesting to see where that game kind of goes on that.
I was going to say, I think at this rate, the safest bet would be for them to literally not fucking say another thing about the Cyberpunk multiplayer for at least a year or more. Just don't say anything about that and just focus on the game, the core game. Because I know they just announced too, the other day, that starting in 2021, the free DLCs are going to start coming out. I don't care about those free fucking DLCs right now. I care about just fix the game. Let's get that squared away.
If there's anything I've learned over the years is that the DLC is one internal team that's working on it, right? And then there's all through all the years of Destiny, Bungie is very, very transparent about that stuff. But now I have friends that work in the industry that they say there's different teams allocated for different things at all different times in the studio. So, but I agree with you though. Fix your shit.
Yeah, just fix that. Fix the core experience right now. Get good.
Well, No Man's Sky was the same way, and they worked on both. Their game fixes came in the form of that. I guess you could call them DLCs because they were updates to the game, expansions to the game. They look at how many just raw issues were fixed in those update DLC patches, whatever you want. I think they're all intermingled at that point when you get something that adds to the game and adds storyline and also fixes 5,000 fucking things that were wrong with that game when it first came out. So I mean, who knows? Their update DLCs might be DLC update patches.
Yeah,
very possible.
I was, again, not to harp on it too much. I was definitely the thing with Cyberpunk that's kind of confusing right now. And again, I haven't played it. Justin, you dabbled into it. Matt, it is the amount of bugs and issues with the game don't match the Metacritic score at all. Mm-mm. The Metacritic score is at a 90, and the amount of bad things I hear about the game, buggy and crashing, doesn't line up. So I'm like really confused by that and why like they're like I was assuming then just listening to it that it would be a lower like maybe in the 70s. Like I know GameSpot gave it a 70. I know IGN.
Well, okay, hold on 1 second. Yeah, I was gonna say that GameSpot review. The person who wrote that article, I don't know what her name is, should never have written that fucking review in the first place because there's literally a bit of that review where she says, "I don't like fucking RPGs. I don't like playing these kinds of games, but like I had to review this game," and she gave it a 6. Okay, given all the bugs and stuff, but if you don't like those kinds of fucking games, you shouldn't be commenting on it in such a
even if you don't like it, you still should review the game unbiasedly. You should still not your own personal opinion should not have any impact on your final review.
Right. That's like me reviewing the fucking most recent Madden game. Like I don't play sports games, but I'm not the best person to comment on something like that. So if you don't like RPGs, especially a game like this, you shouldn't be commenting on it in that kind of capacity. So are you fucking spot on that review.
Are you surprised that the Metacritic is as high as it is?
Yes, for sure. The Metacritic, given everything that's going on, I feel like it should be comfortably at like a flat 7 right now.
Right now, agreed.
Not lower than that, but I think it should be at a flat 7. And I think there's, I think too many people reviewing it, whether it's critics or users, are focusing too much on just specific elements, the story, things like that, which are good. I've heard that's fine, but that can't ultimately fix what right now is kind of a broken game. So that doesn't balance out. It doesn't gel. So, a lot of disparity.
It's a little disappointing, but hopefully within the next couple months when they're able to get the next gen version of it out, they're able to fix it. And again, I know they re-reviewed No Man's Sky like a year later, and they completely changed the review. IGN already gave Cyberpunk a 9, so I don't see them going back and re-reviewing and be like, oh, it's now a 10. Like I don't see that happening. But
no,
who knows? It'll be interesting to see. So, but once again, this is Why Am I Nerd since Alpha Beta Goal, where you can follow us on Instagram, Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd, and listen to new episodes every Monday on YouTube and your favorite podcast service. I don't want to harp too much on the Video Game Awards. I personally wasn't that impressed by it, but I do want to talk about the fucking Vin Diesel thing in Arc 2 because that was atrocious. And I know Arc has like a pretty good cult following. I know the game's like kind of like a little bit of a cult classic type of game, but what was, dude, the head doesn't even portion onto that body. Like it looks fucking stupid. And I know, Matt, you sent over that meme today, fucking nailed it with Kratos and
Atreus just cracking the fuck up at the look of that trailer.
That game, again, like I said, the game has its little cult following. People play it. It's like World of Warcraft. People still swear about it. It wasn't necessary to put Vin Diesel in that game, and especially with how bad it looked. And I don't know. I never played Ark. I know some people that swear by Ark and are like, it's fun, play it. It's a good game. Just like jump in, not have to fucking worry about anything, and then jump out. But I don't know, man. I was blown away that Jeff Keighley even thought that was smart to show on his show.
There's that one part of the trailer. I think I don't know who I texted all of us, or I texted there's one part of that fucking trailer where they're like being chased down the big like cave, and the big T-Rex is chasing after them, and it like bites somebody and like whips them over, and there's like a blood splatter that literally looked like it was from like an early, like a mid-90s PC game. I couldn't. My brain hurts thinking about how fucking bad that looks. That is so bad that this is like, you thought this was your time to announce this game, and it looks like that.
And is that even coming out soon? Like I didn't see the release date on it at all, or is it just like here it is? Everyone's probably like, that was like when they showed the Fast and Furious game last year or 2 years ago. Like who thought that was going to be good? That game looked bad. It came out, it was bad, but people were like, "Oh, Fast and Furious!" Like, no, like
there was a Fast and Furious game.
Yes.
Yeah.
First I'm hearing of that.
Dude, just watch it. Watch the gameplay for like 5 minutes. You're like, okay, like it's like if I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. From what I've seen,
the Vin Diesel head on the body is like Craig, Justin. It's like the Craig head from fucking Halo Infinite. It's That's like my good comparison right now. Is I don't know which looks worse.
Speaking of Halo Infinite, it got delayed again until fall of 2021.
Oh, I heard holiday specifically.
No, it was in the on Halo Infinite. It said fall of 2021, which conveniently lines up with the 20-year anniversary of Halo Combat Evolved.
And that, wow, 20 years. Holy,
yeah, we're old,
fuck.
right? Yeah.
Oh my god,
dude.
that just took my breath away.
See, that game was so talked about that I remember going to fucking with my grandmother, and I was like, Mima, can you take me to GameStop? I want to go buy a fucking Xbox. I had the PlayStation. I was like, what the fuck? Like, let me buy it. Everyone's talking about Halo, and they were talking about Fable. And I remember getting both those games simultaneously. In Fable, I was like, this is epic. This is the coolest game I've ever played in my life.
Your little 10-year-old brain exploded.
Yeah. I like couldn't believe it. And I just remember like, because my buddy Reed was his name at the time, is his name, was like, dude, you got to play this game. Like, it's great. So I bought that, and I bought, like I said, Halo. And Halo wasn't for me. I was like, I'm not into the whole sci-fi shooter thing. But at the time, my buddy's like, go just buy it. I'll come play it. Okay, fine. It was like $10 on whatever the hell it was back in the day when they were discounted. And yeah, I mean, I can't believe that was 20 years ago. I mean, it was 12. It must have been 12 when that fucking shit came out. So fucking A. But anyway, just touching base on the Video Game Awards, nothing really blew my mind. I kind of thought it was a bit of a letdown. I personally, I think Last of Us Part 2 getting Game of the Year was bullshit.
Yep.
I don't think it
deserved
the award.
I think we all agree on that.
I was pulling for
Ghost. Anything else?
Ghost real hard.
Yeah, literally anything else.
I really thought it deserved it. But
Ghost or Hades, man, those were two of my most favorite experiences this entire year.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play Hades yet. Obviously, I'm gonna get that for Switch, but I really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. I thought it deserved it. I thought the Video Game Awards was more just like cinematic this, cinematic that. It was like all I felt like I was watching. The only game for me personally, I don't know if you guys have anything that kind of caught my eye, was obviously I'm glad they showed another cinematic trailer for Dragon Age 4. It's obviously not going out anytime soon. Didn't do anything, but I was like, cool, it's still in development. The Evil Dead game looked like garbage. I don't know who thought that was smart. Back 4 Blood just looked like more
Left 4
Dead. And again, the only other two games that I thought was kind of interesting looking was this Hood Outlaws and Legends game. I'm kind of intrigued by it. I want to just know
that game. I'm almost certain I'm going to buy. It shows up on the PlayStation Store. It's only $30.
Really? It's like, what's it called? Greedfall.
Yeah, I really like the concept of that game. So I want to see what the reviews are like and see how it performs, but it looks like it can be a lot of fun. And I have, enough friends that I could with 3 other people playing it, could have a lot of fucking fun. I'm in. So
if you can dab, just let me know. I'll dab into that. I thought Evil West looked interesting. I'm sure it's going to be like another Order 1886 where it probably will get like a 7. But I'm sure it's not going to blow the roof off anything. And then the only other thing for me was this Callisto Protocol game.
Protocol. Do you know about this? Do you know about that?
It looked like just Dead Space.
So it's made by them. It's got that roots there. Let me say it, Matt. Let me say it.
I don't want you to say it because you're going to ruin it. You ruin everything when you say that.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I see you on edge right now.
Just do it. Just say it.
No, because I'm with Cameron. Like, I like the look of it. I love Dead Space. I think we've all.
I do too. I love Dead Space.
I'm not trying to ruin it. I just think that this sentence coming out of my mouth is the most asimine, bizarre thing I've ever seen. It is a survival space shooter set in the PUBG universe.
See Cameron's reaction, right? 100%. 100% legitimate. It is set in the PUBG universe.
I read that and I just ignored it. Yeah. I was like, this is someone just in my head.
No, it's 100%. But as far as anything else about that, we don't know. It's obviously in the future. PUBG has no story. I used to play the hell out of that game. There's nothing there. Like, it's whatever it is. So I don't know why they felt the need to attach the Callisto Protocol to that, because I was on board with that right away. Like, sign me the fuck up for science fiction, space, horror shit.
And it is from the makers that did Dead Space, right?
Yes.
It's that same, and that's, listen, that like as soon as I saw that trailer, I was like, oh fuck,
yeah.
is this Dead Space? Is this Dead Space 4? Like, oh my god, this is gonna be so good. And then I was like, all right, this is interesting. And then as soon as I heard that news that it's in the PUBG universe, I lost a significant amount of interest until more info comes out. I think I'm checked out from that right now.
That sucks. Jason, you gonna say something?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
no, I was never like into that whole like Dead Space genre thing.
Well, I mean that's really disappointing, and it kind of leads perfectly into the segment is disappointing games that we've played.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, hands down, the most disappointing game for me that I had the biggest hype for. I loved everything about the concept. I was like, fuck this game. It's going to be dope. I'm going to play the shit out of it. I'm going to fucking do whatever. I'm going to play it for years. Was Alpha Protocol. Because that game screamed Cameron James. And it ended up being the biggest letdown I think I have ever fucking played. I played it for 10, 20 minutes. Shot a guy 100,000 times with a fucking machine gun at point blank, and he did not die. And I was like, I'm out. And I was super disappointed that game tanked as, much as it did. And that, to me, that's probably one of my most disappointing. I'm sure, there's obviously other disappointing games I've played, but to me, that's always the game that if anyone's like, what was disappointing to you, a game you've played, it's Alpha Protocol, because I had super, super high hopes for that. But Justin, you got what do you anything?
So I never played Alpha Protocol.
No.
I have. You want me to say mine? Or you want me to?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I want to.
So mine. I have two. One I is not on that list anymore. It was definitely Cameron. We had jokes about this for weeks. Was No Man's Sky. Like, I was severely disappointed with that game. Now I feel the exact opposite way. I fucking think it's beautiful, and I have nothing. I want more. I want my new console so I can play in the new update because it looks fucking awesome. But in terms of games that really disappointed me, Dead Island, hands down, Dead Island.
Oh, there you go.
Man. I think I'm confusing the two of them. Dead Island is not. What's the other one? What's the parkour one?
Dying Light.
Okay.
Yeah, Dead Island for me. The fucking trailer was amazing. Got into it. You're on this island. You see this storm coming in. Like, all right, cool. The crafting of the weapons a little weird. The loot system, but the game was. I'm like, all right, cool. You're in tropical island, and then it progresses and progresses. And by the time I hit the sewers or the prison or wherever the fuck I was like, I want to rip my eyeballs out. This is terrible. What am I playing? Why did I sign up for this?
And then they made Riptide, which was I don't know what that to do. I don't know if that was supposed to be like a sequel or if it was supposed to be like a 1.5 version of it. I know Dead Island 2 is in development for the past fucking 35 years. And that game was definitely a letdown.
Yeah, it disappointed the hell out of me.
Jason, what about you?
Well, like Justin, I had two. Thanks to Justin, now I have three because Dead Island is absolutely one of them. So the two I had was, and we mentioned this, I guess it was last week. We like briefly mentioned something, The Division. I had such high hopes for that game. And then maybe like 45 minutes into it, I started like second guessing. And then I'm like, no, it's not the game. It's me. Let me just keep on going. So I progressed up a few more levels. And at one point I'm just like, this is fucking ludicrous. Like, absolutely not. Put it down. Never once even thought about going back to it. Second one that I had was Mirror's Edge. What's the most recent one? Catalyst. I'm like, all right, this is going to be great. And then maybe like an hour and 10 minutes into the game, I'm just like, I lost, like, I went from here down to here instantly. I could not see myself progressing through, but very high hopes and very disappointed for both of them, really all three of them.
Yeah.
Matt, what about you?
It's actually kind of relevant because I don't think we actually mentioned it from the Game Awards, but it kind of follows suit.
Yep.
Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, that's in there for me too.
Absolute, unadulterated disappointment. And that game came out at like a very difficult time in my life. And I had very high hopes that would like elevate me in this very difficult time. and it absolutely made things so much fucking worse that now, they showed a new trailer for a new Mass Effect game coming out within the next decade, let's say. And it looks like, they showed Liara in the trailer. So it looks like, and there's some imagery. I think, Justin, you sent me that.
At the end of the end.
There's two galaxies colliding with each other, which is imagery or just them alluding to the fact that the Mass Effect Andromeda story and then the first three are going to come together to one cohesive story. And that's great. And I hope it's good, but I will not pre-order that or Dragon Age. I will literally only get those games after they're out and they've reviewed well. And if they review poorly, I will not get them. But that Mass Effect was such a fucking disappointment. It's disgusting how much I hated that game.
I think the reason that you and I both feel strongly about that too is because the other game that nobody else mentioned was Anthem. Was just it was supposed to be this fucking, and it was.
But but that's just it. I had considered putting that on the list, but I put a lot of time into that game, and I did get a lot of enjoyment out of it. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, it was not what it was made out to be, which was disappointing. But it's still, when I think about that game, though, flying around and that shit is super.
Yeah, that was the only mechanic they got right. Yeah, but I think that's why I think we're tempering our expectations for Dragon Age and Mass Effect because the last games that Bioware has, and plus their studio has shifted around so much recently that we don't really know.
Gamble's commenting on that shit. And I don't even think he's fucking there anymore.
So you're out on. You guys are out on Bioware completely, or is it the actual games that you're not? Because I liked Dragon Age Inquisition. I had a lot.
I loved Inquisition, but that is prior to all this other shit. Yeah, that was the last good thing they did was Inquisition, which was fucking awesome. And then Andromeda came out and it wasn't good. Then Anthem came out and that wasn't good. And now I'm fucking panicking because I would love for these two new games to be good whenever they come out, but I am not convinced. I'm convinced they're going to probably end up being shit, and those series, both series are going to die because of it.
Yep, and it's a shame because the universe in Mass Effect is so fucking rich, and it's so there's just so much there, and it would be a shame to watch it fucking fall apart.
Yeah.
So where do you guys think then? And Jason, are you in on the Mass Effect stuff, or are you kind of out on that?
No, that was one, I never really got into that.
So do you feel that BioWare is slipping because of internal issues, or do you think the games just aren't progressing? They're just kind of stuck at, hey, we have this concept, we're just going to stick with the concept and not evolve it, and that's where the games are going stale. Because I know the Andromeda stuff, the original character animations when it was released, it was brutally bad.
I never made it off the tutorial planet. I was just nope, I'm not doing it.
I played that game. I played that game to completion. And I don't think it has to do with the concept. I think the concept is good. And when you look at these games, they did evolve over time. Andromeda was trying to do new shit that was creative, but I think it's honestly, I want to say it's probably because of EA. It's probably the parent company that's just saying, fucking, we want to make money. Just fucking do what we're telling you. That's going to just keep shoveling shit and just make us money. And it bit them in the ass. And then, then Anthem, the same fucking thing. Anthem completely changed. I don't think that game was what the finished product was when it launched, at least, was anything remotely close to what they were alluding it was going to be. And then it was all just fucking microtransactions and everything. I think EA is the fucking devil of the video game industry. They are just they're just the biggest piece of shit out there when it comes to making games. I don't want to rant too much about them, but I think that's why BioWare is having some difficulties, let's say, because I think the people who made those games, are creative. They have good ideas, but then the people who pay the bills come in and say, well, we want this. And then it just ruins everything else.
It's more of just they know they can make money on it. They don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, and what's a really good way to make money is by releasing something that's really good.
Good game.
Yeah, because then people will be interested in buying more content for it. And, microtransactions are one thing, but people will be more interested in buying extra story content, And they'll be more inclined to buy the next fucking game you put out, which will also make you more money. But when you're just focusing on making the money right out of the gate, you're not doing it right. And I mean, obviously, what the fuck do I know? I don't run a multi-billion-dollar video game company, but I mean, you gotta appeal to your consumer base, not just to your fucking investors.
They just appeal to the shareholders. I mean, look at what they did. Westwood Studios was folded because of that. Pandemic Studios, which is what we're talking with. What did Pandemic make? Full Spectrum Warrior, Destroy All Humans, things like that. And like they have a history of just buying these smaller studios up or allowing them to develop games, and EA publishes them, and then big giant corporate EA comes in and like, you know what, they're not selling so good. We're just going to absorb you into our company, and we're going to let you all go. Maxis Studios, creators of The Sims, right? You know what I mean? Like they have a history. They have a history of doing this, so it's.
That's why, and that's another misconception too with EA. Just because you have a massive development team working on a game doesn't mean dick. It doesn't mean anything. You can have 500 people working on a game. It can still end up being shit, and Anthem proves that. There were like 200 or 300 people working on that game, and it was fucking crap. And I feel like you probably could have hired like 20 college students who could have made that experience better, overall.
I wonder if the two people who just left BioWare, it was like the first week in December, if I'm not mistaken, and one of them was the executive lead producer on the Dragon Age series. I wonder if they left because EA wanted to show the Dragon Age trailer, or the tease at least, at the Game Awards, and they didn't want to because they knew that product's not anywhere close to being announced or unveiled yet, and they were like, here you go. And I wonder if they're leaving as a result of EA trying to force their hand in showing the public something that we're not ready to see yet, or that they're not ready to unveil yet because of whatever happens inside the studio.
Yeah, could have been. I think it's Mike Gamble. I think that's the guy. I always think of Mike Gamble. That's the other, and I can't remember the other guy who left, but it's very possible. I mean, from a creative standpoint, you just want to work on your shit, and then when you've got it, something that you think is worth showing, that's when you want to show it.
That's like Rockstar. Rockstar does that. They're very good at not showing anything until, hey, this is what we got.
So that's one of the things that Nintendo is really good at. Nintendo doesn't show shit and then they'll be like, hey, listen, check this shit. It's coming out, and it's coming out in like 3 months.
Like tomorrow.
And everybody's like,
tomorrow.
Whoa, what the fuck? Like, holy shit. Like, they announced the Super Mario collection, and it literally came out like a month or two later. Like, they don't talk about shit until they really want to show it, not because they think they need to show it.
It works because their games are always polished and they're always on point, and there's all the hype is just in the reviews, and we don't.
That's why they teased that Breath of the Wild sequel. Like, what is it, like fucking almost 2 years ago now, I feel like, and they haven't said a fucking thing since then, and they probably won't until they've got a really bomb ass trailer that they want to put out and they feel comfortable with,
And this actually rolls well into what you guys just said, to the our topic again. Today's outline of script is courtesy of Justin Vitale, Microsoft's finest. Nintendo doesn't have the greatest graphics in the world right now. They're far behind fucking Sony, Microsoft PC. Like, they're not even on. It's like playing a fucking Game Boy when Super NES came out. Like, it's behind, and it just goes to show that video games aren't all about graphics. The sound, the writing is also important, and it's funny that you can, especially with the way that games are coming out now, with how great they look and how more photorealistic they kind of starting to come, is that Nintendo, with their whatever type of I say cartoony look that they have, is still actively putting out some of the best games and the best content. Now, I guess the other thing too that you can kind of roll into that is, when it comes to that as well, Nintendo does kind of seem to be falling still on. They haven't really put out any new IPs. Like, they're just still just rolling with Mario and Zelda. But I mean, it just goes to show that games can pull you in graphically or not. I mean, look at Oxenfree. The game was fucking so great, and it didn't look anything.
It looked like a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, Nintendo's doing something right for two reasons. One, a lot of these indie studios are copying their graphical style and like moving more towards that cartoony. And two, how many collective billions of dollars has Nintendo made from Mario and Zelda alone? So they're doing something right. Do they need more IPs, or can they just like recreate these games in a different fashion? To me, all the Marios get boring after a while. But you know, all the Sonics got boring after a while too. All the Ratchet and Clanks, I fucking love that game. I will play it. I will play every single Ratchet and Clank, but they do get very repetitive after a while. But people still buy them. They still play them because it's Mario and it's Zelda.
Justin,
I just looked it up. Their last IP was Splatoon, which was hugely successful for them.
still is.
Still, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think also Nintendo has their biggest moneymaker isn't from Mario or Zelda or Kirby or Donkey Kong. It's fucking Pokemon. Like that thing is a fucking cash cow for them. Like in terms of not only gaming, it's outside of gaming now. Like, I mean, you have all these licensed merchandise and products, and it's in toys and stuffed animals. The trading card game is fucking gigantic for them. It makes them huge amounts of money. But when it comes back to gaming, Nintendo does things right. Like I'm a parent now, right? And I want my daughter to play these Nintendo games because they are, number one, they're easy to play, they're simple to play, but they're a lot of fun and they're nostalgic for me, right? So like I can connect with her on that. So I think that's, a huge part that is there for Nintendo that we're not really fully appreciating because, that nostalgia factor is huge. But, I think that Nintendo does things right because their graphics aren't the best, but the games are fun. The gameplay is solid.
But the graphics are more family oriented,
Agreed. Yeah.
Mario's not walking around with an Uzi, taking out, enemy soldiers.
Yeah, and sometimes it also feels like a sin to play a mature game on a Nintendo, like a Switch. Like I wouldn't play The Witcher on my Nintendo Switch.
No.
I probably wouldn't even play BioShock. I think the BioShock collection came out on the Switch, didn't it?
Yep.
I probably, I wouldn't dabble into that. But yeah, I mean, I think, and it goes back to what you were saying about Andromeda. Again, I didn't play it. I wasn't really a big fan of. After trying Mass Effect 1, the original one, I was like, this is not for me. This game sucks. Was Andromeda, the graphics were atrocious. It looked terrible. But was the story still there? Or was even the story kind of like...
It was very... I mean, it's just, hey, we're in a new galaxy. It's unexplored. We're fucking pioneers. And then they introduced this new alien race that's, I don't know. It was doing some weird shit where they're like, hey, we're taking species from other planets and we're turning them into us. Like that was the fucking concept. Like we think we're like a superior species. So we're going to turn everything into our species. And then like outposts and populations are disappearing. Like it was harping on some of that same shit from the first ones with like the Reapers showing up and like colonies just fucking disappearing and stuff. And there were I forget what they were, but they're like the race that would like go down to planets per the Reapers and they would like harvest the planets. I can't remember what they're called. But it was just like kind of rehashing a concept, and the race looked just, it was, I don't know, man. It was.
I don't remember what they're called, but I remember Harbinger. I remember that motherfucker.
Harbinger has assumed control when you hear that robot.
Star Trek called them the Borg. So.
Yeah,
they're video game Borg.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's a trope that's true anywhere in any sci-fi. I feel like space sci-fi, you're always going to have those similar tropes of characters and races and things.
Yeah.
So do you guys have
superior species?
Do you guys have a game then that looked bad and did not, but the story was just so good you're like, fuck it, I'm going to play this because I enjoy the story so much? Or have you kind of always fallen of like, oh, this game doesn't look good, I really can't get into this right now?
I mean, I can think of a game graphically that isn't the best, but there is zero story, and I've said it before on here. It's Minecraft is appealing to me. It's enjoyable to me. Graphically, it's not there at all. I mean, now it is. Now freaking ray tracing, and it's just like there's all this shit. But like, I mean, vanilla Minecraft. Outside of that, I can't really think of anything though. Like, because story wise, because everything. If you have a good story, you have a good writing team, and you have the money to hire good voice actors, and then good artists for your designs and gameplay's on point. It's like I'm trying to think of anything, but nothing's coming to mind right now.
Jason or Matt, either of you guys, or no?
No, I mean it doesn't, graphics aren't the end all be all for me. I can, I still play games like, I mean, of course it's very colorful, but like one of the, like a game years ago that I got into, which I still love, I just haven't played it in forever. Stardew Valley, 8-bit graphics. It looks like something, or, maybe 16-bit, something you play on like a Super Nintendo, but they're not the best graphics, but that is one of the most amazing games I think I've ever fucking played. The amount of time I've sunk into that across technically three platforms is ridiculous. But no, it doesn't have to look good to be good. It needs to be good to be good. Like, it has to play well. Mechanically, a game needs to work to be good. I mean, no, graphics, I don't care. It's really cool when something looks amazing, but that's not my selling point. I'm not going to buy a game just because it looks cool. It needs to feel cool, and it needs to handle well, and numerous other fucking things. But nah, graphics ain't no thing. Helps, but.
Yeah, and like we had said before, in this in this topic here, which actually leads into the next one, is video game soundtracks make a game too. Mm-hmm. And I know too for myself, video game soundtracks that stick with me that I think are really, really good. But I'm sure everyone here has a favorite video game soundtrack or a couple of video game soundtracks. So is there any video game soundtracks that stick out to you guys that you're just like, yo, if I was in my car and I'm putting the fucking shame aside, I would blast this driving down the highway? Because I got one that's pretty good.
It should come as no surprise to any of you.
Don't tell me it's No Man's Skies.
No, Final Fantasy VII. I love the soundtrack on that.
Well, I can go with Jason on this. It wouldn't be Final Fantasy VII. It would just be Final Fantasy in general. I have all the Final Fantasy video games. They have, you can look them up. They're called the Piano Collections, where it's all just songs from these games done by a piano.
TPR.
Dude, I listen to that shit all the time.
TPR.
All the time, dude. Yeah.
Check it out. Yeah, that's what I have. I have that. I'm in their camp. Square Enix, Squaresoft. I have the Chrono games. Yeah. I have the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah,
they're just good.
I'd probably expand that to most Square Enix.
Yeah. Without a doubt. And it encompasses everything from, the 8-bit, because once, you're out of those MIDI files and you're in a complete, orchestra setting, and you can appreciate the actual instruments, and it's played off sheet music, and it sounds like the orchestral score is there. It's just, it's incredible. I've always been a fan of Bungie's music, even from the Halo days, even now to Destiny. Like, it's just the scores are just epic.
A lot of people swear by Kingdom Hearts, and that, yeah, a lot of
wheelhouse. I mean, my wife knows that, like, those songs will come up and she'll look right at me. She goes, "This is Kingdom Hearts." It resonates. It's why we all know the Super Mario song. It's it's got that there. If it's got that hook, and it can bring you back into that moment. And that's why I feel like music and games is very important, because it brings you into that moment in time.
I mean, I'll be honest. I think one of the most killer, no pun intended, soundtracks is Killer Instinct. Is fucking so good. I'm sorry. I had that somehow when I was a kid for Super NES, and I had that fucking CD, whatever it was called, Killer Cuts.
Killer Cuts, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Kim, if you have Games Pass, so do yourself a favor and download the Killer Instinct and boot it up and get a fucking slap in the face of nostalgia.
Dude, that game was like so ahead of its time when that soundtrack came out. It was like, I don't know what it was. It was like electric EDM before EDM was big, and it was just so fucking. And it's funny because I was today when I was driving home from work, I was like, you know what? Let me see if this game still resonates with me, this soundtrack. And I blasted that in my car driving down fucking the parkway, and I was like, I look like a fucking idiot right now for this fucking old EDM music in my car, and it was just like
slaps
between that and like the original Donkey Kong. I like some of those levels are just like so fucking good.
Bramble Blast, like those, dude. Those games had Rare is, traditionally speaking, Rare is also kind of up there in terms of what they do with music. Like Grant Kirkhope is a fucking genius with his composition. he has made some very memorable tunes. Like I'm mentally right now listening to Banjo-Kazooie in my head. All the different worlds there. So
yeah, and I think the big thing too with video game soundtracks is not like, okay, so you have a game like GTA. The soundtrack is, I don't even know what it is. You listen to the talk radios all the time, and it's really great. You could say stuff like that, but to me, a video game soundtrack is composed of like original material. Like I'm not trying to play, like I know I was listening to something today where Sackboy, the new Sackboy game has like Bruno Mars in it. Like that doesn't count. Like I'm talking like I don't want to be hearing some game from another. And you could say, you can make the argument here that Tony Hawk's soundtrack is great, but Tony Hawk's soundtrack isn't original.
No. But
you could probably play it in your car and people might be like, oh, he's just listening to fucking rock music. But,
true.
There is countless times of just blasting 99 Red Balloons on repeat on the PlayStation 1 when I was or Superman.
Yeah, if you're driving down the road with your windows open and Apocalyptica from Final Fantasy is playing, people are going to know that, okay, what fucking video game is that from? They're going to know it's like some one-off weird thing that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how, much money as well goes into the soundtrack of a game, because you're either buying the license to play the game, and I know that's what this Tony Hawk remake 1 and 2 remake had a lot of problems because it couldn't get all the rights to the original songs from the original game, whether the band is not there anymore or whether what's I am whatever the fuck it is, the music license people were kind of like, yeah, fuck yourself. But I mean, look, you're gonna make money on it. I don't understand why they would say no, but it is. Go ahead. Sorry.
Square Enix has also like created their own songs. I didn't like Final Fantasy X or X-2, but like they had actual, like they wrote songs for that game and had like the voice actors sing them. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And something like that just really immerses you deeper into that world.
Yeah, like I said, no Kingdom Hearts. I think they did the same thing. The Kingdom Hearts stuff is very house clubby from what I remember listening to. It's very like DJ EDM type stuff. But again, I haven't played a Kingdom Hearts game, so I don't know if it actually resonates to what the game is and if it actually shows up in the game. But I do know that the actual soundtrack some people swear by, and I mean, just sounds like a typical house music, soundtrack.
Why Am I a Nerd podcast network has been brought to you by our sponsor, Me Moms. The best breakfast and lunch down the Jersey Shore with 3 great locations in Wall Township, Middletown, and Brick, New Jersey. Me Moms specializes in unique and fun takes on your traditional lunch and breakfast items. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can find more information at www.memoms.com.
Last but not least here, we have, being that music can move you emotionally and have different effects on you. Games that have had an emotional impact on you growing up or even now that still kind of resonate to you. And we're going to say that Final Fantasy VII doesn't count because that's not fair.
Well, I'm out.
What? You can't only have one.
I'm kidding.
You can't only have one game. So, but
yes, he can. He totally can do whatever he wants to do.
True, fair. But you can. It will be interesting to see. Not to spoil that game by any means. We're not to say, will they keep that in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If they don't, the nerd community will lose its collective fucking shit if they take that out.
That's what made that game.
Fuck it. It's a topic. We're gonna spoil it. But so turn the show off now because it's our last topic. If you don't want to hear it, if you don't know what we're talking about.
3, 2, 1, go.
There you go. So she's gonna die regardless. She can't not die. But I guess
don't put any effort into leveling her up.
There you go. But I guess for me, it's if they did change it, and if it's not her that dies because it's so fucking iconic. Go ahead.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate mind fuck?
Yeah, but like the whole reason for her dying was just it was relative to the story, right? Like it made sense for the story for plot development. Like if they kill off somebody else, it's not going to make sense within the confines of the story.
Yeah,
but is it the exact same story as the current game?
Yeah, why not? Like I mean,
No, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing hypotheticals because
I don't.
In Bates Motel, I know, just talking about the show real fast. In Bates Motel, the iconic scene is the shower scene with the girl.
Mm-hmm.
They completely did it. When that happened, it's completely different. I was like, wait, what? Like, this just everything I know about the movie Psycho is now completely disintegrated. But is there any other games that resonate with you guys besides Final Fantasy VII, or is that kind of the only one that really?
I have a couple actually, and I think one of them will
Chrono Trigger.
No, I won't even bring up Chrono Trigger here. I won't, because I don't feel like, even though Chrono dies, spoiler, there are
really.
Yeah, he dies.
Yeah.
And it's optional to bring him back. You don't have to complete anyway. For me, in terms of emotional impact, Ori, fucking game is amazing. The writing is excellent. BioShock Infinite fucked me up on an emotional level. But the one game I think that all of us unanimously will agree on is Shadows of the Colossus. No, really, man. That one.
I didn't like the game. I couldn't get invested in the character. I thought the character was boring.
There were,
this guy.
For me, those, Ori definitely stuck with me. BioShock Infinite and games that really, not didn't make me sad, but definitely stuck with me. Portal 2 and To the Moon. To the Moon probably had something that really, it wasn't a long game, but it definitely had a very big, lasting emotional impact on me. It's one of those like, fuck.
Jason, what about you?
I'd probably go with BioShock Infinite too. That was just a very immersive game, all in, every aspect, visually, gameplay, and also, musical scores. I think the music definitely helped to set the impact that game had as a whole. So I'd agree.
I think that game, if I didn't fucking read what happened at the end, I would have no idea. I would have been like, what happened at the end? So, like, I had to read about it, so it's way over my head. Matt, what about you?
That game was so great.
Yeah, it was. That is a really good one. I mean, just because it's kind of within the last couple of years, the new God of War. There's so many moments in that game that really just strike a lot of emotional chords, and a lot of it has to do with the dynamic between a parent and a child. Which I don't have children, but still, I mean, what as a parent, you can see, some people can see. I remember reading like articles or like rather like people commenting on Reddit about the dynamic between Kratos and Atreus, and then people saying like, I'm playing this game and I have a son, and this game helped me work through a lot of emotional shit with my kid that were just where we weren't seeing eye to eye. We were having difficulties, and this helped me work that out. And then there's also the side of like people who say like, this is how I viewed my relationship with my father. And, some people saying that they never got like the chance to work through their shit with their dad, like these two get to do in that game. But there's a lot going on in that game that I think, it's just one of the most vivid games that I can think of in the last couple of years that just really is just like, wow, there's just so much good shit going on in that game that I just can't wait for the next one to see how many more moments that I get that will strike me.
Yeah, I hope they can pull it off, because that game was really good, especially the end when they show like he's looking at like the photos, like these, that was really great. For me, the one big game that sticks with me, and it's not in a good way, it's in more of a way that actually got me frustrated.
We know Jolly Roger Bay.
Fuck that. Fuck that game. That game just gave me nightmares. No, was The Last of Us 2. I didn't like the transition midway through that game when you have to play as Abby. I despised it, and I was actually frustrated. I was like, I don't even want to see this through, because I don't enjoy this, and I'm not enjoying it. Like, you knew Joel was getting it. Like, let's be honest. Like, he was gone. Like, you knew it from the moment it happened. Yeah, they tried like little teasers every now and then, with especially when he like goes over and he's like, "You think I was gonna let you do this alone?" Like, obviously it turns out to be the other guy. But when I think they had to establish that early. I think the way that they established the two games on why he got killed made sense. It was actually really fucking clever. But to me, I was like, I didn't want to play as Abby. And I know a lot of people were like, wow, at the end of that game, I felt for Abby. I liked Abby more than Ellie. But I was like, fuck you. I don't care about you. I hope you fucking die on that boat on the way out. And I hope your little fucking kid friend dies too. I didn't want anything to do with it. I was disappointed, and not in an emotional way where I was like, wow, this game fucking hit me. More of like a, wow, I can't believe I'm actually grinding my way through this and I'm not enjoying a single moment of this game.
I still hate that I felt bad for Abby at the end.
How? I didn't feel bad for her.
But
I'm cold. I'm a prickless asshole anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Abby and Ellie, they were the same person. Their stories were identical. And it's one of those things where, okay, what if the first one you played as Abby instead of Ellie? What if you were doing Abby's story instead of Ellie's story in the first one? And then you had the chance to play as Ellie in the second half of the second one. Like, who the fuck is this bitch? You know, they're the same. It's the same story, and you feel horrible for them both.
Yeah, I mean, and I think at the end too with Ellie, when she goes back to the house and she's back, I thought that was a bit of a cop out. If you want my honest opinion of an ending, I feel like it didn't. I get it. You know, they were like, we didn't want the game to end on a happy note. It didn't have to end on a happy note. I just feel like it ended on the same note that the first one ended on, which makes me kind of feel that there might be a third one. And if there is a third one, I don't know if I'm going to be adding to that at all. You know, Justin chimed in here, actually. I can't actually see what the chat says because it's on. I have the screen. I have the full screen.
Text. I'll send it to you in text then.
But
future topic.
Yeah. So I mean, for the ending of that game, I thought it was kind of a little bit of a cop out, but we can explore that next week because once again, this is Why I'm a Nerd presents Outfitted Gold, where you can follow us on Instagram, Why I'm a Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why I'm a Nerd, and listen to new episodes every Monday on YouTube and your favorite podcast service. So that does it for us here today. It is Sunday, which means it's football. Everyone's football team sucks. Well, at least mine does.
No,
yours is real bad. I don't know.
Yep.
Matt and Jason, you're not football guys, right?
Mine's real bad.
Nope.
Yeah. Cool. So, all right. Well, on that note, I'm Cameron James. Mike Shaw's fine. It's Justin Vitale, Jason Porter, Justin Matt. Until next time,